Greetings, family. It's Dr. Greg McNeil coming to you from the surface of the sun here in Tucson, Arizona on a lovely fall day. Overcast at the moment, and it looks like we're about to get some rain. I love rainy days, so this is perfect for me. I want to share a story with you, a powerful one that really led to my research and actually the change in my research. So let's just jump into it. During the first year of doctoral residency, one of the things that we were required to do was to develop a vision seed that would guide the research for the next 3 years. And so we all sort of, for that weekend, we put our heads together and we thought about it. What is the vision that, we want to bring forward in this world through our research? Well, when I walked through the doors of residency, I walked through the door as a practicing clinician. So the thoughts that were really on my mind at that time was thought, the application of thought, and how thought is structured to create the realities of our lives. That was kind of my working vision seed, right? Thought, and how thought is manipulated to produce the realities that now must be changed. That was my working vision seed for the doctoral program, during that first week of residency. And we were in the mountains in northern New Mexico, so it was a really lovely getaway. We had nature all around us. It was beautiful. So when we returned back to Santa Fe from where we were in northern New Mexico, we would meet at the college back at Southwestern College, and we would have our presentations. We would meet the individuals that would be a part of our councils, but we would also deliver our presentation in a form of a pechacucha that would give the faculty and some of the people who would be a part of our dissertation committees an idea of what we wanted to bring forward. So I presented my presentation, and it was good. It was great, I guess you could say. People enjoyed it. But one of my cohorts, her name is Amina, Deborah Warfield, a great sister. She began her presentation, and she was talking about the adultification of young black girls and what was happening to, black women in the United States through various forms of political, social structures, and these types of things. She gave a very powerful performance. But one of the things that she said that really stuck with me, her question was, we have to know who we are. Who are we? And she had tears. And as I sat there listening to her, I could feel it in my body. Something was happening for me. There was a shift going on. And I knew that what I had delivered just moments ago, something told me that that's not the research that I'm ultimately going to be finishing by the time I leave the school. But what it looked like, I didn't know it yet. So when she finished, there was a little silence, but for me, I had tumbled off the mountain, as it were. Something was happening for me. The ancestors were with me right away. The next 2 years, I was having intense dream experiences. Intense dream experiences about ancient America, what it looked like, the people, the early African people on this continent for 2 years. And it was quite intense. And I wasn't really sure what to do about it. So I didn't say anything to anyone. I did not include it in any of my research notes at the time. It was something that I just kept sort of like hidden or close inside as I continued to move through, the coursework, getting all of the prerequisites out of the way. But something was happening for me, and I knew it. And after that first year, I thought, damn, I'm getting ready to change my research. But am I really? Is this the road that I'm going on? I was questioning myself. Because if you don't know anything other than European history, especially in ancient America, it's met with intense resistance. The lie that was told about American history is a big one. And there's a great deal of effort to keep that story in place. But it's a lie, it's an illusion, and it would crumble. And it would crumble not because of my research, but it would crumble because of the research that was already present, that which was hidden. But that was a journey that I would discover and find out. I didn't know it all then. I was like many of you. I had so much knowledge about African history, what was happening in America, but they were in different places, in books. I needed it to be in a central location. And as I continued to go, it became clear to me, it's like, this is the research that you're going to do. You're going to write about African Indigenous history in ancient America. And you're going to deal with everything that comes up as a result of that. And what I realized is that when Amina had delivered her presentation, she had triggered the call in me from the ancestors. It's like, this work has to come forward. You have to bring it. And so for the next 2 years, I just sat silently, just building on the research, connecting with different people around me, particularly a lot of American Indian scholars, because they had been caught up in this mythology of American history as well, too. You see, the American Indians didn't tell the lie, somebody else did. But to say that they haven't been here for a long time, that would be ridiculous. But then that goes back to just how old this country actually is and how old the human race is on the planet. So I knew that there would be no argument, no conflict with American Indian people. It was just impossible, because when you really do the history, you know where we all come from. But I kept going in this research. I kept getting deeper and deeper into it. And the more I found out, I knew then it's like, you have to tell this story, and you have to tell it in a way so that everybody can find it. You see, we can all write books. There are tremendous books and great research all over the world. But depending on where you are, you may not have access to that. And if you're in the United States right now, you see what's going on. They are making a huge effort to wipe out African history in this country, African history in America, African history all over the globe. Why is that? Why do you want to wipe out African history and then try to appropriate or steal the history of other indigenous people that you think genetically that you can be closest to? Well, we really know why that is. It starts with the great truth. It starts with the great insecurity that was spread throughout the world. And so now here we are in 2025. They're trying to, again, diminish, minimize, eradicate African history. They're trying to change its presentation at the Smithsonian. They're trying to tell people that slavery and things like that was not really a bad thing, and that it was good for African people. Anybody that knows that when you hear such language come from the mouth of others, not only is it ridiculous, sinister, but it's also evil. And it also lacks foresight, wisdom, and above all, truth. So we have to tell our stories. But at that time when I entered my residency, I did not know that was happening right now in 2025. I did not know it then. I did not know at that time when I got the call to change the title of my research. I didn't know that there would be such an intense effort in the United States to wipe out African history in America, or African history on the planet, which again is world history. And so now, here we are, scholars, African scholars around the country. We're trying to figure out, what do we do about saving our data, about saving the history that they're trying to eradicate, erase. And so now when I look at the call of the ancestors to do this research and to put it in ProQuest dissertation so that it would be available for free, okay? And I like to say throughout time, right? That's where that research is now, where it can be found by all of you. And that link for the research is going to be in the description. But I didn't know at the time. The wisdom of the ancestors says, yeah, this research must be done because the truth must be told. And that comes back to the title of my research, which starts with the word place, P-L-A-C-E. Why place? Well, place is the story from my mother, which is, it simply says, wherever you go, you are at home. Wherever you go, you belong. Because it is your place. Because the world started with African people. And wherever you go on the planet, you will always be at home. You will always find your place. Understand? So when it comes to the research, we live in a time now where you must be knowledgeable. You must be informed. This is not the time for us to move on what we think we know and what we think we believe, because the division that has struck all peoples on the planet is intensely at work, and it divides and it conquers and it creates disruption. It creates disbelief. It creates challenges to truth, where truth is exchanged for the lie, and the lie receives the credibility. But we've done something about that. There's a shift on the planet. Research is here, and it's all around. I am one of many. I am a thread piece in a thread carpet that's telling a story that we all need to hear, a history that we all need to reclaim. Place African Indigenous history is not just research, but it's a story of our lives. It's about reclaiming our history. It's about reclaiming our connectedness, our sense of belonging, our history, and our humanity. Thank you.